and I have found Matt. This is Canada Goose, the place that makes goose noises that I was talking about. Let's introduce ourselves and say what we're doing. Who are you?
I'm Matt. I'm the publisher of Dagger Magazine, and we are out on the street.
We are out on the street selling magazines. Let me flip this camera. I'm Don Jolly, the editor of Dagger Magazine, and I'm very glad for anybody that can join us because we are on a disused street corner in front of a for-lease, like retail space, selling art and magazines, and we do our own magazine at daggermag.com. If anybody wants to give it a look, we've got 4 online issues up there, and we've got a print issue featuring an interview with John Carpenter and a variety of bizarre stories. And we are currently, what street are we on? I mean, does it matter? Yeah, we're like on Wooster and Prince, over by Canada Goose. So just look for Canada Goose if you want to come find us. We're hanging out. And let's take a look at what we got here, because Matt is showing off a new series. This is like a weird kitten painting with a lot of eyes, so it pulls a lot of it's very strange to look at. It pulls your eye in a lot of different directions. And you're gonna avoid people as they walk past. And we're selling records, and we've had a couple of sales, and so we're just gonna post up and hang out and talk. The duct tape. And anybody wants to come in with the chat, we're just here to hang and be chill. Yeah.
Just hold it for a second.
Yeah. You can't put it all the way around because I got to be able to read the chat.
How's that?
I think that's okay. Interesting stuff. Opinions on the Jews, please.
They're certainly not running the leasing company for this place, that's for sure.
Yeah, otherwise we would never get away with this. I don't know. I think that
They may own it, but not leasing it. They're not part of the management company.
I think that what's happening now, like people feel like they're being drafted into intercene race wars, a number of various descriptions, like these are like phantom information wars. Like I don't think it's really super violent yet, but I think the only way that we advance as the human species is just get to a point where we're all comfortable enough with shit talk for a variety of reasons, that we can acculturate ourselves to the reality of the social space that we now occupy.
Quality shit talk.
Quality shit talk. People say Pole is the hurt box. We need people who can maintain in the hurt box to survive in the cyberpunk dystopia of the 21st century. And I apologize for the sound of jackhammers, but there seems to be little we can do.
Can they hear us fine?
I don't know. I mean, we don't have a whole ton of people in the chat yet. Is the audio okay? Are we okay? Are we coming through? You want to talk about the series?
I don't know if they can hear us. I don't know if they can hear us.
They're saying good audio. Thumbs, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Yeah, we sold some records. Yeah, it's not bad. I'm really surprised by this device. I mean, like I said, Dagger Magazine live news agent broadcasts brought to you by Cayman Island Holding Company Technologies LLC. The jackhammer is going to stop. He's destroying a front stoop, and he's almost done. His supervisor was just like over there checking it out. We did this last night in Williamsburg in the cold and the dark, against a chain link fence with barbed wire up on the top of it.
And a transit authority place.
It was a transit authority place. And I tell you, here, I think because it's the day and because, as somebody pointed out, we actually did a part one of this a little earlier.
The shitty iPhone has worse audio than the Cool Pad.
Yeah, the shitty iPhone has... The Cool Pad has the best audio we can get. Are you guys just roaming the streets, sleeping in garbage cans? Basically, yeah. I mean, have you ever read A Lodger for the Night by Robert Louis Stevenson? Artists are disreputable people. You can't be an artist without being a little bit of a con artist.
R. Kelly.
Yeah, R. Kelly is something that we should talk about. Because, I don't know if you've seen it, but Matt found this clip. And it's R. Kelly doing a show in, Uganda or something. And I thought it was doctored. But he literally gets up on stage in front of, a million people. And he's singing, do you have your passport? Do you have your shots? Who wants to come home with Rob to America? Puts his hand over his heart. America! I don't know. Anybody who thinks that this is an ethical profession needs to get their head examined. Conning 16-year-olds into sex. Conning 16-year-olds into I mean, he's basically you know how they the slave buyers would examine people's teeth and shit. Do you have your passport? Do you have your shots? Do you want to come back with me to be in my sex cult in America? And then he's selling it with the Star Spangled Banner thing. I mean, say what you will about the guy, but he made some complicated culture. Yeah, and Matt turned me on to that.
Yeah.
It's really his story to tell.
Or colonialism has been reduced to fucking peeing on people's faces.
Yeah, literally peeing on people's faces. I mean, but he's got such a dulcet, sweet voice, just a beautiful tone, beautiful melodic tone.
Guy can make a song out of anything.
Do you want to move to my country?
It's like he found a pamphlet at the airport and made a song about it.
I'll hose you down, just don't have botulism. Can I smoke a cigarette? Okay, so let's talk about what happened when we rolled up here. Because we rolled up about 11:30 in the morning, and we start setting up. And this very active little German fellow comes scampering out of the apartment. Now, we did a part one of this where I just wandered around looking for a deli. I don't know. We're new to live streaming. People live stream video games. We're just going to live stream the real life video game of trying to hustle shit on the street.
Like a low level fucking dark elf.
Dark elf?
Yeah, you lack social standing.
Dark elves have, they're a very regimented society, but it's just in dark elf cities. Once again, I apologize for the jackhammer. It's going to end soon. But tell me about the German guy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so he came out and he started yelling at his doorman that we weren't allowed to be on his stoop. But we're actually on the stoop next to it, a little bit further down. This was a bit about the street.
Yeah, ignored by the cops.
Yeah.
But he was yelling at us that we were on his stoop, and he was like, "You're breaking the law. I don't care how cool you are. You could be you could be a slidey snake. You could be a
Yeah,
slidey
he called
snake.
me a slidey
Slidey
snake because of
snake." He called him.
I was too Asian for him. I was doing like little Asian hand movements.
But then, you know, and if you're in New York at all, you know that, or if you've even been here on a visit, there's people who roam the streets with their CD and they're like, man, I'm a fucking rapper and my shit is fucking great. And they sell it, you know, and they have these like very personal interactions with people. And one of those guys, so he was basically yelling at us, and Matt was saying like, oh, we're artists. We just want to put up our fucking kitten painting in our magazine. And the guy was having none of it. He's like, you could be as cool as you want. You could be a slidey little snake, but I don't care. I don't fucking care. You're breaking the law. And then he turns around. He turns away from us, satisfied that he's yelled at us until we're gonna behave. And then he turns around, and one of these guys is bringing out his rap CD, and they have like this long conversation that Matt listens into.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's obvious that they had met before and they had conversed in some sort of cultural binding interaction, which
It ended with a daps. It was like the international symbol of like, you're white, but you're okay.
so through simply eavesdropping upon his conversation, we learned that the German fellow is living with his girlfriend up in the building, so he may not even pay rent there, and he's just fucking like, you know,
Yeah.
just moved in from the fucking suburbs because he's trying to get away from Lyme disease.
Yeah, Lyme disease, the fucking curse of the suburbs. It looks like Eve is walking up. It wasn't Weave.
You know,
Hey man, how you doing? I'm Doc. I'm the editor of Dagger Magazine. This is Matt. He's our publisher. We're an art magazine. We publish a lot of New York illustrators for parents. And we're just fascinated myself to just take it around the city and show off all the way down. Yeah. Yeah, daggermag.com. What's your name? Matt. Doc. Eli. Nice to meet you, Eli. That guy looked like Weave, but his name was Eli. So yeah, this guy's just renting, and he's giving us all this shit, and then he just walks off, satisfied with the interaction.
some people just need to blow off steam.
There's a lot of like, somebody was asking me yesterday. Okay, no, I want to address one thing from the chat earlier. Like I did a stream where I was just wandering around, and somebody said, you're walking around a big open air mall. Of course it sucks, because I was looking for a decent deli. This guy is correct. But the thing you got to understand is that German guy lives at the mall. We are surrounded by people who made a decision to spend a lot of money to live at the mall.
Yeah, but SoHo is like a microcosm for the United States too, because this used to be the hub for manufacturing inside of New York. Like this is where they used to have all the places where they would make stuff down in Lower Manhattan. And then that industry got totally blasted in like the 1950s. And this place was just like not utilized for like almost 20 years. And then like all these artists started moving into the big empty spaces down here and made it all chic. And then it turned into fucking...
Pretty funny how the Truman Show is one of the most realistic depictions of our future. Yep. Empty manufacturing buildings. Andy Warhol's factory was over here.
The German guy was very upset, but very toothless. So it's like, you know.
Yeah, you got to make sure when people are yelling at you that power is actual. The Germans really went down the deep end after losing 2 world wars. Tell them about going to Germany.
Yeah, Germany's fucking weird. Bunch of sex clubs out there. They didn't let me in.
Matt went to Germany. Come on, tell the story, like, because they know about Bernard Foyne. Like, Matt's been doing some work with the European Space Agency, and because he was doing some work with the European Space Agency, he got to go to this conference, and he was traveling through Germany, and I was sending him what I usually send him. But talk about the fucking vibe in Germany. You don't have to tell the whole story, but just the thing at the train station.
Oh, at the fucking bus terminal, yeah. Like, so like I checked into the bus terminal like around 10:30 at night, and I had like a fucking locker that I rented out the locker for. And I put all my shit inside there. I was waiting for my bus to come. Don's sending me fucking swastika cuties.
Yeah, like anime girls arranged in a like spinning swastika.
And then like I'm in the bus terminal, and I realize like, this shit is illegal here. I can't even fucking have this on my phone. It's fucking illegal. It's fucking, it's verboten.
Tell them about the guy at the conference.
Oh yeah, there's a fucking scientist at the fucking space conference. He was like getting a little tipsy. He was like a young intern, up and coming fucking scientist motherfucker. And like you got discussions about like, you know, because I was there talking about the role of science fiction that plays in creating a mythos for.
He gave an amazing talk about science fiction literature. Anime Nazis are forbidden. Yes, they are.
And then fucking like, you know, so we're talking about like, you know, people read sci-fi and like kind of nerd culture sort of things like that. And he basically started talking about how fucking like autistic people should be fucking sterilized. And I was like, oh, I'm in Germany. This fucking German's talking to me about fucking sterilizing autists. Like, and then I kind of upset him. He got all upset. I was like, oh, it sounds
Hi.
great. So,
How you doing? Yeah, so you hear that? Anybody from 8chan on the
the Germans want to sterilize the autists.
the Germans want to sterilize the autists. Graham is correct. Anime Nazis are very forbidden. They want to sterilize the anime Nazis. They want to go in. They want to take Gahul. They want to sterilize him. They want to sterilize Ritsu. All the waifu fags and the lolly posters gone. I mean, the thing that's crazy about that is like, what's the point of sterilizing an autist? Because how are they going to reproduce anyway?
It's their ideas.
It's just a fuck you. It's just an extra fuck you. I can't.
Anyway, he got all fucking upset about me because I was equating him to like repressed sexuality that he was fucking expressing as a fascist.
This is the thing. Like, really believe that with Wilhelm Reich that fascism is the expression of impacted, like ignored sex in the 21st century because porn is too pervasive.
Jerk it, man.
Which is why 8chan Pol wants you to stop looking at porn, but probably why you should like chill out a little bit. I mean, I don't know. If you want to swear off that stuff for any reason, I think it's probably
no Fat February.
No Fat February, no cum 2019, no nut 19. Joke authoritarianism, sterilize the autist, woke authoritarianism, 1,000-year race war.
1,000 years?
I mean,
did it take that long?
1,000, woke authoritarianism, 1,000-year autistic right. That's not what, yeah, sorry, I made an assumption. And it made an ass of me.
Autistic authoritarianism is powerful because it's not born, it's created.
Yeah, it can't be born because no women are involved. It must be crafted by pure will. I'm really tired of this jackhammer.
Can they hear the jackhammer that much?
They can definitely hear the jackhammer.
What are they saying?
I mean, people have said that it sucks. But, like, we can hear the jackhammer. We know it sucks. Undiagnosed autism is the best kind. I mean, honestly, I think they should just speed up.
I'm a collector of afflictions.
Yeah,
it's got ADHD, you got autism. Don thinks I'm a narcissist.
Yeah, I think he's a narcissist. Yeah, well, I mean, I think he's a narcissist. But
what else I got? Dyslexia.
No, I'm just an asshole. I'm just an asshole. Check right sleeve for bird bomb. Did I get bird bombed? Oh no, that's paint. That's paint. Show us a live piss later.
It's like it's coming very quickly.
No, I mean, people stream all kinds of shit, like this is definitely like the jackhammer is annoying, but I've definitely watched video game streams that were more annoying.
Can't control everything sometimes.
You can control very little when you're, what you have access to is a cool pad from Cayman Island Holding Company Technologies LLC. Although honestly, I gotta say I'm very impressed with the device. Working excellent.
If they can hear us at all from this distance, I'm surprised.
Yeah, I think it's going well. I mean, we're up. We got some people watching. What else do you want? What's up, guys? Hey, Municipal Tap Water. Welcome back, dude. The jackhammer weeds out the dilettantes.
That's true.
Hey, what's up? George Whittleback, Lorraine McLaren, Hoppy. How you doing, man? Stay strong, brother.
Sun's starting to hit us now.
Yeah, that's good. It's a little cold, but it's better doing it during the day.
So night might be better for audio.
Yeah, night probably is better for audio. I mean, we'll mix it up. We'll do different things. But streaming, you should sell Dagger Mag at Anime Con. I would love to sell Dagger Mag at an anime convention.
I got some friends that used to split a table at Comic Con. Like you can drop like 700 each, and you guys can get like a little booth and whatnot. Everyone's always trying to get me to go inside like magazine, fucking expos and shit like that. There's like a whole industry of people who make money off of the creators. It's like that's what basically we're living at now. It's like every creator is fucking desperate, so they have all these industries that sprung about to like make money off the people who are actually trying to make money.
Yeah, to try and tell you like, this is how you sell your thing. I mean, we're not roaring successes. Obviously, we're like sitting on the street corner, but like we sell a decent amount of magazines, and we sell them to people like you that are just interested. Like we came and sat out last night. We made a decent amount. We made a little bit of money anyway, just from the internet. And the people in Williamsburg didn't know what the fuck we were doing. But that doesn't matter. It's not really about that. Free hepatitis with every copy sold. Do you guys try to only publish New York area artists? No. This guy says, thanks for the comic, dude. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed it.
Nah, we don't just do New York artists. No way.
Yeah, we the last issue, we do have like a lot of New York illustrators and
Yeah,
stuff.
but those guys are from all over the place.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're from
Well, but like we met them here. But no, we don't have any geographical preference. We're a little bit overloaded with submissions right now. I do know that people are waiting to hear back about their submissions, and I'll take that 100% on the nose. I basically got like overloaded with communication, and I freaked out because I'm not like used to doing internet, like constant internet open communication.
He's a perfectionist. I keep telling him that the stuff is all laid out and beautiful. It looks nice. Like you should just load it up. But he's got a vision for the thing. Like we're seeing it through. It's gonna be good.
But we're doing the. I think you're getting the ticket. You guys busking copies now? I mean, basically, subscribe to Dagger Church. I mean, ultimately, what I'd like, because I really like doing these live streams. I think we're gonna keep doing them, and this is a good way to keep everybody updated, talk about what we're doing with the magazine. And they won't always out here with the fucking jackhammer or whatever.
But it's got a ticket.
How much you get a ticket for?
$65.
$65.
Did you see that guy?
I just saw it. I told you when I saw him. I'm talking to the chat. I'm sorry. Live ticket cams.
What I get. Irresponsible.
I'm sorry. I didn't notice it.
now we got the ticket, so basically I got paid for the parking spot already.
Yeah. Out hustling again, nice. Yeah, just gonna hustle. Get a little light hustle on. How you doing? Hey, we got Art Magazine. $65 ticket in about 60 seconds. Graham Jarvis. Yeah.
Like I got mugged.
Did you guys see him? Did you see him in the background?
I just got mugged by the government.
You got to watch our back while we're out here. I mean, I don't know. I don't think I'm giving him a clear field of vision. Oh no, yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, well, let's tell this story.
Yeah. Let's see.
Talk about how you ended up going to the Bundy Ranch.
Yeah, okay. So, do you guys remember Cliven Bundy? He was a rancher in Bunkerville, Nevada. Let's see. You for street draw, ticket for parking. Yeah, ticket for parking. All right, but I'm gonna tell this story. So Cliven Bundy was a rancher out in Bunkerville, Nevada, and for years he was grazing his cattle on federal land. Land claimed by the federal government. It was supposed to be a nature preserve. If you've read any of the weird shit about like what Harry Reid was doing out in Nevada, buying up big tracts of land supposedly for solar panels, etc., it was tied up with that. And Cliven, at one point, he was getting the Bureau of Land Management was sending like armed goons to get him and his family from grazing their cattle on the land. So Cliven, at one point, one of their family members caught an incident where police were electrocuting one of the sons, one of Cliven's sons, with a. And so this caused a big sensation, and it got out into the right-wing internet and the militia internet. And this big group of militiamen came down to Cliven Bundy's ranch, and they assembled and they faced down the Bureau of Land Management. They had armed goons from the government on one side and armed militiamen on the other, and they had a standoff, and the government blinked and backed off. And so at the time I was in graduate, I was selling stories to kind of like Gawker tier websites like Boing Boing. I was in the Los Angeles Review of Books, which I'm very proud of, and I was doing these kind of stories that had like a live reporting kind of tinge to them. But I knew that if I was going to go into politics, there was a certain way that I was expected to do it. I was told at one point when I moved to, I was interviewing for a newsroom job, and I was told straight up, like, look, the way we get our money and your role in this newsroom is going to be to elect Democrats. They didn't hide it. And it wasn't seen as some kind of, this wasn't some occult information. It was just assumed that we're all on the same page. We all agree that it's a good thing that Democrats get elected. And if you're going to have this job, you're going to fight my ideological war. And so I knew as a freelancer going out there, there's only one story you can write about Cliven Bundy. And that's, this guy is an insane maniac who, maybe you could do Hunter Thompson, Hell's Angels, like, I'm embedded with him, but he's still ultimately a maniac, and it's still ultimately something that's bad for society. And 6 months down the road, if the article is any big success, Cliven Bundy is going to be yelling at me like Sonny Barger yelled at Hunter Thompson on the fucking Merv Griffin show or whatever, where he rode his motorcycle into the talk show. It's fucking crazy political theater, right? And like during the standoff, Cliven himself participated. At one point, he gave like a rambling messianic rant on Fox News while holding a wounded baby calf, which was that just like perfect biblical touch that drove the left wing crazy. They thought it was the weirdest thing they'd ever seen. So I was going out there to do a hit piece. And, I'm from myself. And when I was on the plane down there, I was seated next to a professor from Notre Dame who was going to his high school reunion in Texas. And it was the first time he'd been back to his hometown. And you could just see the fucking disdain that he had for it. I mean, this guy was like oozing melancholy. Like, imagine he's a Catholic, so he's oozing that like particular Catholic, like, I'm conscious that I'm committing a sin, melancholy. And I was thinking about that. We had a conversation as I was flying down to Texas to get a car ride out to Nevada. And I was thinking about, like, me and this guy talked a little bit about Cliven and what I was going to do and what the story was going to be. And he was just so angry that anybody would, like, give this fella the time of day. Like, it's dangerous, It's dangerous to talk to this guy. And, he hated him. This is a fella from Notre Dame. Like, he's clearly, like, bifurcated his life. Like, he has this idea, like, I came from a small town in Texas. He had what he had there. And then he moved and reinvented his life and, like, did a whole thing. And he had such hatred, such disdain for these ranchers that he never met, that he didn't really know anything about other than he'd read some, like, CNN headlines. And, like, I became conscious of the fact, I knew what I was going down there to do. I was going down there to write a story that people like him. It was about 2 weeks after the standoff, and I went to Cliven's ranch, which was still being occupied by the militia. So there were still a lot of militia people hanging out. And I went and I interviewed everybody, and I met everybody involved. And I'm putting this piece together, in my little notebook. But something starts sticking at the back of my head. Like, I can't write this story the way that everybody is going to expect me to. Like, I can't write to that hatred, and I can't write to that disdain. Because Cliven Bundy reminded me of my grandfather, and he lived in extremely close proximity to a very large and very loving family. And the militiamen that I met, they were not the stereotype of, like, knucklehead, bruiser, white supremacist guys. I mean, one guy pulled a gun on me, but he was like a 70-year-old former contractor. He wasn't even like a militia guy. And so I went out to Cliven Bundy's ranch, and I spent some time with him when we went out on the disputed land, and I got to hear things from his perspective. And essentially, he convinced me. He at least convinced me that he was intractable, because what he said is, I'm a devout Mormon, and it is my sincere belief that this land has been given to me by God. And, like, I was in college for religious studies, and I was like, look, you're not going to move this guy. His resistance is a fact of life, and you're either going to have to kill him or kill some other people, which ended up happening when there was this ill-advised thing that happened about a year later, where they took over not Cliven, but his sons, Ryan and Eamon. They went up and took over a wildlife refuge in Oregon, and ended up getting one of the militiamen, Lavoy Finicum, got shot. And I was supposed to go out and cover it for Penthouse Magazine, but they closed their New York office, like, in the middle of me negotiating for my plane ticket. Welcome to publishing. And it was insane to me. Like, afterwards, I sort of debriefed with one of my professors, like a professor that I really, I like the guy, and I think he's got some intelligent things to say. But I was trying to explain my perspective on, and, what it all amounted to, and the way that this guy's, not just his belief, because religion just isn't just a matter of belief. It's the things that you assume are true about the world, and your place in it, and your role in history, and what happened before you, and what after you, and what happens beyond the realm of your daily experience. There's an academic word that I think is very useful for this called cosmography. Basically, people live in completely different fucking realities. And if you want to understand the world, you have to figure out what those realities are, and you have to be able to navigate nimbly between them. I believe this. And I was explaining it to my professor, and I was trying to explain Clive Bundy's reality. And once again, I got hit with that disdain, that just pure hatred. And he said, yeah, but you're making apologies for these terrible people, for these horrible people, these right-wing white idiots. And I was like, your job as a professor is supposed to be to get $1 million townhouses from New York University in exchange for basically being a babysitter. Oh, no, wait. Your job is supposed to be to preserve and extend human knowledge. And you're going to cut yourself off from understanding of a religious matter. You're a religion professor because you read something in the New York Times that told you how to feel? Motherfucker. It was a very disillusioning experience. I had a whole crazy thing that happened to me when I went out to the desert. I want to do something with it. But
how did that affect your career trajectory?
That career trajectory?
Yeah, you had a career trajectory going up until that point.
Yeah, because I was writing for pretty straight magazines, and I was selling freelance stuff, and I had a story that I was going to put out at Gawker, and then they messed it up in the edit, and I walked away. And I was basically like I was barking and biting to achieve a scum position, and I've achieved a scum position now, but I did not have to bark and bite to get here. Did you create a scenario like Manson's Helter Skelter? Really opens your eyes to the closed-mindedness of institutional professors. Sorry, I'm gonna get to the chat. I was kind of ignoring it while I was telling the story. I missed the desert thing. That's absolutely true. It's good to remain hopeful and optimistic, but universities are done. I'm sorry, do something else. I am. I'm out of the university. How do you remember all these names? Journalism. Really makes you wonder what kind of cool, strange shit like this gets ignored by popular news media, ignored or reported in such a lopsided way that it becomes political propaganda. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's the one thing, like, people like to talk shit about InfoWars, but about 3 months after I was out in Nevada, everybody was talking about the refugee crisis on the border. Kids coming over with diseases that were undiagnosed. And you know who was on that story? Fucking months before anybody, who I met out with the militiamen? The InfoWars people. The social media savvy individuals. And they were just hustling up for these fucking stories, man. And I understand people like to gawp at Alex Jones. And trust me, I grew up in Austin. Like, Alex Jones stories and watching Alex Jones, like, that's fucking deep. That's deep roots. He's fucking an amazing television presenter. And he plays the Imperial March, you're gonna make the frogs gay. Like, Alex Jones is a very successful media personality, and he's got a very weird and not entirely terrible thing that he's doing. And also,
there used to be all these Time Life books about conspiracy theories. I mean, it was much more accepted, about fucking Bigfoot and fucking Loch Ness monster than the human desire to explore the unknown. And so, Alex Jones is just one of those great storytellers of our generation.
And his Bohemian Grove video is one of the best fucking videos of all time. Holy shit. What was that word you used for individual's reality? Cosmography. And I would recommend, if you're interested in how to, because one of the big things that people run into when they start talking about this stuff is the idea of belief. And belief is a very Protestant idea, and it really it's basically, that's the thing that's difficult about it. If you want to talk about what people believe, it feels like something that could be easily shifted, because people believe so many things because it's convenient or because it makes them feel good. Cosmography, and there's a book called The Western Construction of Religion by Daniel Dubuisson that I would really recommend digging into if you're interested in how to talk about a person's differing realities with some degree of specificity and without getting bogged down in belief. I would also recommend reading Philip K. Dick for this purpose. Yeah, we're gonna. You do a good Alex Jones voice, Cosmography. Where are you from in Texas? Kilch 21, and I lived there. I went to college there for a few years, and I got much love for San Antonio. Best fucking food in the state of Texas, which means it's the best food anywhere in the world. I don't know. What do you guys want to talk about? Maybe throw out some because we got like 16 people. Um, let's see if we can get some. I don't want to put that on the same one as Clive and Bundy. So if people liked the thing that I did about The Last Jedi, like I got some comments about that, the Last Jedi review. Um, I'm gonna do a big multi-part series where I explain why the Star Wars prequels are fucking genius. I don't think we're gonna do it on the street with the jackhammer. It's basically it's gonna be a series of like academic lectures. Driving right now, so I can't talk. Last Jedi review was ace. Thank you. And this prequel thing is going to be even better. And it's going to be like, because I've been thinking about everybody loves those videos where you just hate on something that sucks. Like obviously The Last Jedi sucks. It feels really good to just like shit on it. I kind of have an urge. Like before I came out here, I watched the trailer for the new Spider-Man movie, and I just got I got the urge to destroy it. But I think it's actually a little bit more interesting to talk about something that you appreciate rather than something that's just garbage. How much energy do we need to spend on garbage? Is an open question.
And it's weird because like
You gotta
just as much as like we people used to complain about the prequels, like it's kind of the pinnacle of what someone like us trying to achieve, like like an independent creator owned
All right,
enterprise.
we got some new people in the chat. Last Jedi review is almost a commentary on the monopolization of Disney on entertainment, which needs to be talked about much more. I agree, although I don't think people should time has passed since the Last Jedi came out, and it's been a very good year. I think. I know it's the fashion now. Whenever the year changes, people are just like, "Well, that sucked." Whoa! Fuck you, man. You're alive on the planet Earth for a year. You're gonna just say that everything sucks, everything's bad. Well, it's not to my satisfaction. You think people in fucking Soviet Russia standing in bread lines, made snarky posts to their Instagrams? No, they didn't, because they didn't have it. About how much their year sucked. Famine, that sucks. Losing an election, I don't know. But it's been a good year since The Last Jedi, because the thing that the flop of Solo, I don't know, you can look up the exact number, but Disney just announced that they lost a couple $1 billion in licensing revenue because they can't sell Star Wars shit anymore. And you know what that tells me? It doesn't work. They took George Lucas away from it, and the whole thing are terrible. But he kept it alive and made it huge, and he kept the merchandise flowing. People were still connecting with the stories. Oh shit!